Okay, friends, welcome to the after hours trigonometry. Bam, bam. Okay, so first thing we want to notice here is this is definitely a law of cosines problem because, oh, Beth, my crazy kitten, she's attacking chords. Rawr! Okay. So this is definitely a law of cosines problem because there are three sides and no angles given. So what we're going to do, and it kind of depends on what angle you want to find. In this case, we want to find all three angles. So in reality, I just need to find two and then subtract from 180. That's all. So let's say I'm going to find, I don't know, this 7 looks good. So let's say we want to find angle C. We're going to find that first. So I start my problem because I want to get angle C. I start with side C, which is right across from it. So I'm going to go 7 squared equals, now comes my other two sides squared. Doesn't matter if you do A and B or B and A, you'll get the same thing. So we'll do 8 squared plus 6 squared minus 2 times those two sides again, times the cosine of that angle C that we were looking for. And now I'm just getting it as simplified as I can before I end up solving. So 7 squared is 49. We got 64 plus 36. Let's see. 6 times 8 is 48 times 2. 6, 4 times 2 is 8, 96. Okay, then I'm going to add them together. Oh my gosh, this one looks really deceptive. Like, hey, you should totally subtract me. Everything will be fine. No, don't fall for it. So right now, this is about as much as we can do. And we're going to handle this like any two-step equation. We first have to get rid of that constant. And the constant is the number that has nothing attached to it. That's that 100. Okay, so we started by plugging it into the law of cosines. Then we simplified as much as we could. Now we're kind of at a standstill and we've got to do some algebra here. So I'm going to get rid of my constant first. I'm going to subtract that 100. That leaves you with negative 51 equals negative 96 cosine of C. Now I can divide to get rid of that times negative 96. Remember, we are trying to dislodge that 96 from that cosine of C. And what's connecting it to that cosine of C is multiplication. So don't think you have to add. It's real easy to think that, but we're actually going to divide. So we know that'll cancel. So we're left with cosine of C, and then the negative over negative makes it positive. Now we got to undo that cosine, and that is the inverse cosine. So I am going to erase all of this stuff because we are in movie magic now. You guys can pause and rewind if you need it. And I'm going to go to my friend Desmos. We love Desmos. Okay. So I'm going to enter, stay in degree mode, inverse cosine, go back to the main, 51 divided by 96. And we get an angle of about, we'll round to the nearest tenth. We're going to say angle C is about 57.9 degrees. Math Excel will tell you what to round it to. So cool, we have angle C. Now let's go for another angle because we really can't do anything until we have that other angle. So we're really not done, I mean, until we have that other angle. So now let's get angle A. Why not? So we want to get angle A. This is our next one. So that means I'm going to start with the side opposite angle A. That's going to start my equation. So 8 squared equals, now it's my other two sides squared, 6 squared plus 7 squared minus 2 times 6 times 7 times the cosine of angle A this time. And then I'm just going to do some simplification here. 36 plus 49. 2 times 6 times 7. Jen's going to use her calculator because she's tired. 84. And then we got to go 36 plus 49. 85. Look at that. Even trickier, friends. Okay, we are not going to be fooled. We are going to undo this equation by treating it like a two-step equation. I'm first going to get rid of that constant, that number that has no variable attached to it. So I'm left with 64 minus 85, negative 21 equals negative 84 cosine A. And remember that negative 84 is attached to the cosine of A with multiplication. So I need to divide to undo that. So we are left with positive 21 over 84 equals cosine of A. And that means I'm going to do the inverse cosine of 21 over 84. And that'll tell me angle A. So it's a lot of plugging it in and then recognizing when it's either a two-step equation or a lot of just simplifying. Basically, if you need to find the angle using the law of cosines, you're going to have to do the inverse cosine. So now we're going to go back to Desmos, and we're going to go inverse cosine 21 divided by 84. And you get an angle of about 75.52. So we'll just say 75.5. And while we're at it, we might as well subtract from 180, hey? So we could go 180 minus our first angle, which was 57.9, minus our second angle, 75.5. And that tells us that angle B, our last angle, has to be 46.6 degrees. So for our last angle, we just subtracted from 180 because you only need two angles and you can very easily subtract to find the other one. And that makes sense because look, angle B is opposite the smallest side. And look, angle B is the smallest angle. Isn't that cool? What? Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, let's see one more example here. Okay, so this time we're given two sides and an included angle. We want to find side A. So we're finding a side, so we don't need to do inverse cosine. It's just going to be a whole bunch of simplifying. So A is the angle I'm given. The side opposite is what I want to find, so that's what I start with. A squared equals my other two sides squared and added together. And then now times the cosine of that angle A. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight to Desmos and type this in. I'm going to make one little change. The only way to type it all in and get that answer is I'm going to have to end up canceling this squared sign out. So if I rewrite this just so A is by itself, this would be the square root of 21 squared plus 42 squared. Now keep in mind that Math Excel is lame, and sometimes they want you to put answers in exact form, and that means with the radical. So if they want that, then you would just calculate it here and then stick the radical over it. Okay, so let's go to Desmos and do our calculification. You like that word? So there's my square root sign. 21 squared plus 42 squared minus 2 times 21 times 42 times the cosine of 39. Enter. So we end up with a side of 28.9, it would round to for side A. When you're working with the law of cosines and the law of sines, it's going to be a lot of decimals as your answer, just because the calculations, and they involve cosine. I'm pretty sure you guys won't have to do any simplest radical form, and if you do, let me know. Do the ask my instructor thing, and I will totally help you out. But yeah, 28.9 would be side A. So you're just plugging it in and then going from there. And if you have to solve for the angle, that's where you treat it like a two-step equation. So I hope that helped. Thank you for listening, if you did. And if not, man, no, I'm just kidding. So yeah, have a great